Well, you say basketball. Didn't you play football?
Yeah.
So talk to us about football. Like what?
Yeah, so I played football from 5 until 23. So, and
Wow.
I played. So I played for professional clubs from 14 until 20, and then went into the non-league from 20 to 23. Absolutely, like, just did not get along with the politics of the game.
Yeah.
Super. You should use your, like, I can say it now because I'm older, and like upon reflection, like, just your usual, like, entitled footballer, like the kid that comes out of professional clubs and thinks they can just walk into non-league men's football. Jumps from club to club to club, like when I didn't play or when I didn't walk straight into the team. Like, for example, if I sat 3 games I've started 3 games on the bench, I was off the next one. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was my path, and then I just fell out of love with the game. Yeah. So I ended up just packing it in, and I gave it another go, and like around the COVID time for literally a few months,
Right.
and then I was like, nah, mate, it's
Do you think that played a role, say, in potentially not getting on in the game into anxiety, like feeding, like, you know, the reason I say it, like we were talking about this very conversation basically before you come, and it's like, again, the champs and the contenders, it doesn't matter what you do, it's, you know, we're all doing the same thing essentially. We're all doing things we love and we want to get to those places. Like, and we, you know, for someone, Faye was a GB runner, you know, and then not being a GB runner must have blew your mind.
When it was over, it was over.
Yeah.
It's like, what now?
Yeah. What'd you do? And like, I was signed to record labels, and like I was at Universal, I was at Sony when I was a kid. Could have been like some fat Justin Bieber, you know what I mean? But it's like when I've watched you talk about your anxiety, like, it's sort of, I wondered, you know, because of the football and stuff, if that hit hard. And I always think there's not really enough for young footballers, young athletes, young musicians, or like that help afterwards, because you give your life to it. You know what I mean? Like, what's your take on it?
I feel very strongly about this as well, like exactly what you just said. As a kid, you grow up with a dream of becoming a professional footballer, right? Then you get the chance, you get the opportunity to be signed by a professional club, and your identity is created around being this professional footballer. You know, you're wearing the tracksuit every day, you walk around with a different swagger. You know, you're feeling part of it. You know. You're going through the trenches. You're playing. Like, you never stop believing. You go through, like in life, ups and downs, anything. And even like for me in my journey, get released, get rejected by the coach that doesn't rate me. Go on, keep going, keep moving. And everyone's path is different, but you've grown up with that. You've grown up with the dream, and you've built that identity of being a footballer, or like, because no one has any other, like as a kid, no one has any other option. Like, this is it, I want to become a footballer. And then when you're dropped into the world and you're just left to figure it out, that identity is crushed, and you begin to think, like, who am I? Who am I without football?
Yeah.
You know? Who am I with, like, I'm now not walking around with this tracksuit on. I'm now not training every day. I'm now not got an income for playing football. You know, or even if you don't, like, whatever, like, as a youngster. But for me, at 20 years old, I got released from Torquay, and like, I was living there. I was like, everything was like, I was playing well, and just like dropped from the sky. And that was the toughest thing for a kid, because you've really got to go and figure it out for yourself. Like, you can have your parents around who support platforms, but like, ultimately your dream has just been taken away within a moment. And it was tough, mate. Like, to be honest with you, like, it spilled over into feeling entitled, like feeling like the world owed me something.
Yeah.
You know, feeling like that was going to be handed to me on a plate. You know, and because I've walked out of a professional club, I thought,
Get to another one.
yeah, go to another one. It doesn't happen like that.
No.
You know, and there are people that have given the opportunity to make it, and there's people that have been dropped from higher clubs than I have, and God knows like their process. But I just don't feel like there's enough support for youngsters coming out of football.
No.
You know, that then they've got to go and figure life out like just like that. The dream is just gone, and you're left to figure it out on your own. Like, who the am I? Yeah.
And I feel like it goes across all the arts, even actors and things.
Yeah,
you know,
same, yeah,
like,
exactly.
They do like we're entertainers.
Yeah.
You're in the public eye. You know, like if without the people, who are we to even do what we dreamt of doing? So you're in the Colosseum, so to speak. You know, you're performing. Whatever you do, whether it be music, whether it be, you know, arts, whether it be acting, sports, boxing, kickboxing, you know, all that stuff. And then, you're lost. You think, what do I do now? And then, like, I just refuse. I refused for a very long time. Like, I was like, no, I was meant to do this. It's almost like, again, the superstition thing. Like, it's almost like like a godly thing. Like, I was put here to do this.
Yeah.
And then you realise very quickly, maybe you weren't. You know, maybe you weren't. But you learnt a lot along the way. And, I mean, I still do music. I'm still in it. Like, a musician's always a musician, you know. Like, an athlete, it's a different thing because of age and time and, you know, chances and things like that. It's difficult. But, I mean, I'm glad, I appreciate you opening up on that because it's something that I like to fight for on this show and talk about, which is like, you know, we're all pretty much on that level and we try to get to where we want to do, and it doesn't get heard enough. And it might even come across to people as like, oh, you're a spoilt brat, you know what I mean? Like, what, you didn't make it in football? Like, wait, but no. You don't realise we were almost brainwashed to believe that we were going to be, I was going to be the next, you know, Bruce Springsteen, or you were going to be the next Pele. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're brainwashed to believe it.
But do you know what the hardest thing is though? Like, you have to have that belief.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You do.
You have, like, if you want to become a
Top.
athlete, a professional footballer, musician, like, the ones that you have to have that belief are sometimes it's just not meant to be.
Yeah.
You know, that path isn't written for you. You know?
But then you put it into something else, like Roll
exactly,
Boys.
mate. That's what I've made. Do you know what? I was having a conversation the other day about all the knockbacks that I had.
Yeah.
Like all of the rejections that I had through football. I just channeled that energy into like that persistence and that like willingness to just keep going.
Yeah. Get thicker skin from it.
Thicker skin, mate.
Yeah,
Into-
definitely.
Yeah.